The Vanished 3. A real horror from Cancun, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight I want to tell you a story that, until a few years ago, most people dismissed as a myth, an urban legend told to scare tourists. But what I'm about to share with you is based on documented interviews, missing persons reports, and newspaper articles published in Mexico and the United States. A story about 3 friends who traveled to Cancun, Mexico, and were never seen the same again. Their names were Alex, Jamal, and Diego. 20-something, adventurous, excited for their first international trip together. They arrived in Cancun on a warm December morning, planning to spend 2 weeks exploring beaches, food, and nightlife. On their 3rd night, they visited a small bar outside the tourist zone. Cheaper, quieter, and more authentic, as Alex had insisted. What they didn't know was that this bar had been mentioned briefly, almost hidden, in a 2019 article in El Diario del Sol titled Zona Roja, Tourists Warned to Avoid Rural Cantinas After a Series of Disappearances. That article received little attention, but the 3 friends should have seen it. Because at 1:17 a.m., according to CCTV footage later recovered by police, the 3 walked out of that bar, followed by 2 men and 1 woman. After that, the cameras never caught them again. The awakening. What happened during the next 48 hours is still partly unknown. But Diego, one of the 3, survived long enough to tell investigators a trembling, fragmented version of the truth. He said he woke up on a metal table, the air cold and chemical, the lights painfully bright. His wrists were strapped. He heard clinical whispers in Spanish, metal instruments clinking, footsteps moving with calm precision. He realized he was in some kind of underground room. What he does remember, what he repeated over and over was, they weren't killing us out of anger. They were doing it like a business. Calm, professional. Like mechanics working on a car. Something went wrong. Someone stepped away. Attention slipped. Diego freed one hand, struck blindly, heard a body hit the floor, and ran. Barefoot, bleeding, stumbling through the jungle. He heard flashlights and voices chasing him. Locals in Tres Palmas later claimed they heard screaming echoing through the forest just before sunrise. A rancher found him hours later, collapsed, trembling, dehydrated. The news breaks. Newspapers reported the story days later. Cancun Sentinel, January 14th. American tourist found in shock near abandoned warehouse, claims he escaped criminal operation. The Yucatan Chronicle, January 16th. Authorities investigate possible human trafficking ring linked to tourist disappearances. Seattle Monitor, January 20th. 2 Washington state men missing in Mexico, 3rd friend hospitalized after terrifying escape. Police confirmed the warehouse was real. The restraints were real. The tools were real. But Alex and Jamal were never found. The mystery that remains. Authorities shut down the warehouse immediately. But the people who ran it, whoever they were, had already vanished. No fingerprints, no IDs, no bodies, no answers. The official report calls the case an unresolved, organized crime disappearance with 1 surviving witness. But locals whisper another story. They say the warehouse still hums at night, even though power was cut years ago. They say you can hear footsteps inside, even though the doors are locked. Some claim they hear 3 voices calling for help. Police sealed the entire area. Soldiers patrol the entrance now. No one is allowed within 500 meters. The government said the building is structurally unstable. But locals insist it is haunted, that whatever happened inside still lives in the walls. And some say the government isn't protecting the public from the warehouse. They're protecting the warehouse from the public. The mysterious ending. 3 friends left for a vacation. Only one came home. And yet, try searching for the story online. Try looking for case number 2147. Try finding the articles from El Diario del Sol, Cancún Sentinel, or the Yucatan Chronicle. You won't find them. Not anymore. Every link is gone. Every archive is empty. Every reference has vanished. Just like the 3 friends. The question. So ask yourself, if this never happened, then why were the newspaper articles deleted? Why was the warehouse sealed, guarded, and erased from public maps? Why does the government refuse to release the rest of the report? And most importantly, if the case is truly unsolved, then who is the government trying to protect? Some say the truth is too dangerous. Others say the truth is still out there. But everyone agrees on one thing. Nobody should go near that warehouse. Not at night. Not alone. Not ever. Because some places in Cancun were never meant to be found. The Vanished 3.